We had a key reversal last week when the Fed cut its rate by 25 basis points. I told everyone to wait, because normally what happens when they cut rates, don't start buying stocks right away, because usually what happens, they go in the wrong direction, and a day later they straighten themselves out and they'll go in the direction that they want to go. And that's exactly what happened. So the yields reversed from going down and turned around and went straight up. Now remember what is going on that they didn't share with you. The biggest problem that we're having right now is the deficits and the national debt. Even corporate debt is going through the roof. That's pushing yields up, interest rates up. But they didn't even mention that last week. Now, what Trump has been doing to fight this has been relying on the short-term T-bill. Those are 1 month, 2 months, 3 months to a year. Now, people are starting to love those because you can get a nice interest rate, whether it's 2 months, 3 months, I haven't checked them lately, but let's say for 3.6%. Now, the problem is this. As the 10-year treasury, as the debt keeps climbing and the yields keep climbing, we can't rely on that short-term debt. It won't work because it's going to hurt our reserves at the bank. Now, everyone is telling you, don't worry that the banks have $600 billion in losses. After all, nobody really cares because, again, they're not realized, they're not real. Well, if they're not realized, they're not real, why are they on the balance sheet? So the next time you hear somebody say, don't count, don't worry about the $600 billion in losses to the banks. Did they say that with Silicon Valley Bank, Republic Bank, in March of 2023? In Signature Bank, did they say that? No. So why are they doing that now? It matters a great deal because, again, what happens is this. We know that the banks are mandated by the Federal Reserve to have so much cash in case of losses. It's called the reserve. Now, what's been happening is, as long as the reserves stay healthy where they're supposed to be, let's say the reserve is supposed to stay at 10 million, then that $600 billion is fine. And as long as our deposits keep coming in, they're fine. As when the reserves start going down, that becomes a problem. Because as the reserves go down, then that classification of unrealized go to realized. Now, I agree. If they weren't on the balance sheet, don't worry about it. But they are on the balance sheet. So we got a real problem, two problems. We got the national debt deficits, corporate debt going right through the roof. That's pushing up the yields. And then we got Trump depending on short-term T-bills to pay down the deficit and the debt. That's a real problem because they're getting very, very popular. He's pushing those. Well, why is he pushing? Because he can't borrow from Japan, China, and the UK like we always do, 10, 20, 30-year money. They're not going to buy those treasuries. Why would they? Look at us. We've been in gold since, January, February. Look at silver. China, Japan, UK, they're making a ton of money in the metals. So why would they? They're not going to. So while he is pushing those T-bills, and think about this. Look at the numbers. 36 trillion in total T-bills. 69% of the 36 trillion. What are you, nuts? Those are T-bills. Think about that. That's insane. 69% of 36 trillion. So let's put it in perspective. So 25 trillion in T-bills in just 12 months. They're going like wildfire. They're getting so popular that our reserves at the bank that are mandated has dropped from 4 trillion to 2.5 trillion. All these people say, don't worry about it, it's all fake, the 600 billion. No, what's going to happen is at any time, and I don't think it's going to be too long in the future, all of a sudden that $600 billion that is classified as unrealized is going to be realized. And guess what happens then? The same thing that happened to Silicon Valley Bank, First Republic, Signature Bank. Boom. So anytime you hear, don't worry about it, those are fake numbers, no. Here's what you got to worry about right now. He's relying too much on the short-term notes, the short-term T-bills. Our debt keeps on going up like crazy, which is pushing up our yields, which is pushing up our interest rates. The $3 trillion he's dependent on, the T-bills, rather, he's depending on, not going to work. So there's some real issues. Now he turns around and Powell tells us, oh, this is exciting. I couldn't believe this last week. He announces the quarter-point cut, and then he announces he's going to start getting the Treasury to print $40 billion a month, give it to him, and he's going to go and buy 10-year Treasuries to bring the yields down. And whatever, the market went up 600 points, celebrating. Well, they nuts, I said? I told my gang members, no, don't do anything right now. Wait one more day, you'll see a change. And it did. The next day, boom, what happened? No more rally. Boom, that's gone. What happened to the yield? Through the roof. Everything changed. Stock markets, instead of going up, was going down. Yields, instead of going down, are going up. And that's where we stand today. So now, check this out. Why do you think, look at this. We are in a rotation, okay? So let's take a look at the heroes, okay? Let's take a look at the most exciting stocks that everybody buys. Everybody buys Oracle. That was so popular, right? Look at this, straight down. But look what's going on with gold, straight up. Look what's going on with NVIDIA. Oh, that's everybody wanted NVIDIA, straight down. Look at LUV, straight up. Look at Microsoft, straight down. Look what's going on with industrial. So there is a rotation, but that may not last long. So let's leave it like this. If you have the skills to sell short, you don't have to worry. Everybody says, anybody ask me or ask you, what do you think the market's going to do? What do you think it's going to do? You just say, I don't know. I don't really think about it. I don't care because I make money if it goes up. I make money if it goes down. That's the position you got to be in. Learn how to sell short. We'll help you. Please learn how to sell short. Then you don't care what decisions they make. philsgang.com